my name is Allison Childs. I am currently a junior education major at Cedarville University, and I'm currently taking Theology 2 with Dr. McKinion. Today we are going to discuss the nature of salvation, the union with Christ, and then we're going to walk through my personal union with Christ. So, in order to receive salvation, we must recognize what God-given grace and true saving faith are. Grace is the concept that we are sinners, and because we are sinners, we deserve immediate eternal punishment in the fires of hell. We don't deserve a second chance to prove ourselves as innocent because we are already proven guilty by the fall that we see in Genesis. But regardless of this fact, God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die for us and to give us a second chance that, again, we don't deserve. To be made new through him. It is the concept that even though we don't deserve to live this life, we are able to because of Jesus and because of the work that he did on the cross. True saving faith is the concept of not only knowing God, not only having knowledge about God and his people and what he's done in the Bible, but believing in him, believing in his works, believing in what he's done, and actually living that out. Living out our faith in the fact that we believe in him. Now, because we are Christians, because we have obtained these two things, God-given grace and true saving faith, we are given the opportunity to have union with Christ and to be in his presence. There are 4 parts to the union of Christ, and these 4 things are election, incarnation, the actual experience, and consummation. Election is the concept that we are predestined by God. We are chosen by him as Christians to spend eternity with him and to spend forever in his presence. What a blessing. And incarnation is the concept that God has sent his son into a physical representation on earth so that we as Christians can have a physical relationship with him. It is the story of Christ incarnate. The actual experience is again kind of similar to that, but it is the fellowship that we are allowed to have with the Son. And consummation is the concept that the church is united with Christ through holy union. Now, my union with Christ is going to look different than my friend's union with Christ, and it's going to look different than my mom's union with Christ, because everybody's relationship with God is intimate and personal to their own lives, so it's going to look a little bit different, but I'm going to share a little bit of my story and a little bit of an insight to the union that I personally have with Christ. So as far back as I can remember, I've struggled with decently severe anxiety, and I would often view this battle as a personal struggle and something that I went through by myself, and it didn't really affect those around me. And because it didn't affect those around me and impact them in a huge way, I didn't see it as much of a sin. Now, people may argue that anxiety is not a sin because worrying is not a sin. However, just because it didn't impact those around me a whole lot doesn't mean that it's not a sin. There are plenty of things that are private and personal sins that are very much labeled as sin. Anxiety can be a form of sin because it's pretty much saying that I don't trust God. I don't trust the plan that he has, or if he even has a solution for my current situation or my circumstances. It's saying, I don't trust you, God. I don't know what you're doing. Anxiety is the result of when you try to do everything on your own without God. It's the result of saying that you are capable of doing things and having everything in control that God never meant for you to be in control of, and he never meant for you to walk through that alone in the first place. You are trying to play your own God by trying to control everything, and you can't do that. So my acceptance of Jesus Christ as my Savior was the best and the biggest decision that I've ever made in my life. And it wasn't until the consummation that I had with him and the union with him that I was able to see anxiety as a sin in my life. I once was in prison to my anxiety, and I once was in prison to the sin of it. But now I am free from the lie that I have to control everything. And as a personal union with Christ, I have been given grace and forgiven from the sinful thought that I was fighting it alone and that I was completely alone and it didn't impact anybody else around me. I now have true saving faith and believe that God has everything in his hands. He has a plan for it all. So this is a little bit of my union with Christ.